now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade J.J. Williams. And as we begin to wrap up the week and the month of Christmas celebrations, we're going to give you quite a few entries from the Muppets catalog here as we start to wrap up the month. First up, A Muppet Family Christmas, starring Jerry Parks, Jim Henson, Frank Oz, Dave Goelz, Jerry Nelson, Richard Hunt, Steve Whitmire, Carol Spinney, Catherine Mullen, Karen Prell, and David Rudman. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. As I said in the introduction, now that the Christmas chestnuts are done, as we make our way towards New Year's Eve, we're going to be taking a look at a lot of Muppet entries into the holiday season and Christmas specials, etc. We already did Muppet Christmas Carol earlier this month when we did our entire week of Christmas Carol films. These are some of the other Christmas specials, Christmas shows, Christmas movies that fall into the Muppet filmography. The common thread through all these is at least an appearance by Kermit the Frog, if he's not one of the main stars. And boy, is he a star in this one. We're going to discuss A Muppet Family Christmas. And as our movie opens, Fozzie Bear is driving many of the Muppets to his mother, Emily Bear's farm for Christmas. However, unbeknownst to Fozzie, his mom is preparing to go to Malibu, California for the holidays and rent her farmhouse to Doc and Sprocket, who want to spend a nice, quiet Christmas in the country. Now, Doc and Sprocket have just arrived when Fozzie and the other Muppets enter, disrupting Emily and Doc's plans for the holidays. Just then, Miss Piggy calls to tell Kermit the Frog that she is at a photo shoot and will be late, making Kermit very worried. Rolf the dog and the Swedish chef then arrive, and they begin to prepare for Christmas. Meanwhile, Fozzie builds a snowman outside. The snowman comes to life, singing along with Fozzie and putting on a comedy act with him. After the performance, Fozzie goes into the house where he tells Kermit about his new act. This is once again interrupted by Miss Piggy calling, and she tells Kermit that she is doing just a little Christmas shopping before she goes to the farmhouse. Sometime later, sometime later, the gang watches a home movie of themselves as babies during their first Christmas together. A group of carolers then arrives, consisting of Bert, Ernie, Big Bird, and the rest of the Sesame Street Gang. All of the Muppets continue to prepare for Christmas as the news comes on the TV. The Muppet newsman then reports that the worst blizzard in 50 years is approaching the area. Kermit realizes that Miss Piggy is still out in the storm, and he gets more worried about her. Fozzie and Emily begin to go over where everyone is going to sleep, and then the Sesame Street Gang performs a play of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas," where the two-headed monster portrays Santa Claus. Kermit then gets a third call from Piggy, stating that her limo has gotten stuck in the snow, and that she's calling for a taxicab. Fozzie then approaches Kermit, stating that now is a good time to show him his new comedy act with the snowman, but their act is cut short thanks to Statler and Waldorf, who are friends with Emily Bear. Feeling some sympathy for Kermit, Doc offers to go out into the blizzard looking for Piggy. Kermit is then called down to the basement where he and his nephew Robin find a Fraggle hole. Kermit and Robin then venture into Fraggle Rock where they meet Gobo, Moki, Wembley, Boober, and Red. Finally, Miss Piggy makes her grand entrance, riding in on a dog sled with Doc. All of the Muppets then sing a medley of Christmas carols and swap presents, all except for Oscar the Grouch, who just sits in his trash can, sighing miserably due to his hatred of Christmas. Doc then comes in, dressed as Santa, giving presents to all the Muppets. Jim Henson then appears, preparing to wash dishes, while Sprocket dries. Meanwhile, Kermit and Piggy kiss under the mistletoe. They then wish the audience at home a Merry Christmas as our movie comes to its end. The Muppets are timeless. I don't care how old I am. I don't care how old their movies or their TV shows or their shtick is. I'm always going to love the Muppets. I want to get a tattoo on my shoulder blade of Kermit. And that's just how much I am dedicated to the brand and the message that the Muppets bring. I want to say that this was the very first shared universe anything that I had ever seen before. If it wasn't, then it was second only to the Universal Monsters, because I'm not sure exactly what age I saw Abbott and Costello Meets Frankenstein for the first time, which brought together the Frankenstein monster, Dracula, and the Wolfman primarily, with a brief voice-only cameo at the end of the Invisible Man. But this came out in 1987, so I was 11 years old at the time. Depending on when I saw Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, definitely 1 and 2. But bringing together the cast of the Muppets, the Muppet Show essentially, alongside the Sesame Street crew, alongside Fraggle Rock, and the way everything is integrated so seamlessly, just so easy, the way the story just filters itself through. Doc and Sprocket want a Christmas in the country, so they rent a farmhouse from Emily Bear. The Muppets come to surprise Emily Bear. So now you've got Doc and Sprocket from Fraggle Rock, and you've got the Muppets. Then here comes a group of Christmas carolers that happens to be the Sesame Street Gang. Then you find a Fraggle hole, which brings in the rest of the Fraggles. It's just so perfect the way everything works itself together. It's almost too easy, you know? And if it wasn't for the fact that the rights are so scattered these days, I'd love to see this happen again. You know, Disney owns the Muppets. They own Bear in the Big Blue House. So right there you've got two properties that can come together. Then you bring in you strike a deal or something with HBO so you can get the Fraggles. Then you've just got to work out a deal with the Sesame Workshop. And there you've got 4 things. You've brought in Bear in the Big Blue House also. And there's so much other stuff. I mean, I just wish this could be done again. There could be a more modern follow-up. It would be so cool to see the Bear in the Big Blue House characters again, something similar to this. But I digress. You know, the biggest problem with this special, there's 2 of them. 2 big problems. Number 1, it did get an official DVD VHS release. However, it was edited. They had to cut some of the songs due to rights issues. You know, they had received the rights to do it as a broadcast special, the one time, no real opportunity to make money off the deal. When they decided to release it on video, they had to renegotiate the rights on some of the songs. So there were some songs that they just couldn't renegotiate the rights to, so they get cut out of this movie. And it turns almost an hour-long special into about 40 minutes because of all the songs that they cut. So that's problem number 1. Now you can watch it completely unedited, all the songs in there, even the original commercials that aired during the special broadcast on YouTube. You can find it out there, you just got to look. The other problem is, and it's not as noticeable when you're a kid, but when you get older, it's way, way evident. And it's the fact that some of the characters' voices sound the same. Now, Jim Henson, Frank Oz, Dave Goelz, Jerry Nelson, Richard Hunt, Steve Whitmire specifically, the sensational 6, if you will, of the Muppets, performed so many characters. So there's a lot of different voices going around. However, I don't think it was ever intended for the universes to come together. So you see Ernie talking and you see Kermit talking, and they sound alike. And you hear Bert talking, and you think about Fozzie talking, and they sound alike. and Gobo sounds like Robin. So you've got this layer of these characters that I don't think were ever intended to come together like this. And when you're old enough and you watch it and you can hear the similarities in the voices, it loses just a smidge of the magic for it, if we're being honest. When you're a kid, you don't notice those things. You're like, oh my gosh, Bert and Ernie are there with Kermit and Piggy and Fozzie, and you don't care. But it's definitely noticeable as you get older. However, that being said, when it comes to my rating for Muppet Family Christmas, it's a 5-star classic for me. It is my favorite out of all the Muppet specials that I'm going to be discussing here this week. 5 out of 5, hands down. What do you guys think of Muppet Family Christmas? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that debate, that discussion, that conversation that I'm always asking you guys for in the comments below. And make sure you guys tune in at the top of the hour right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, as it'll be time once again to open the doors for Stat Boy Sports Bar featuring Dory Lou. The food is hot, the beer is ice cold, and the seats are warm, so pull up a bar stool and engage in some professional sports conversation with Stat Boy Mike and Dory Lou. And then tomorrow, right back here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, it'll be time for another edition of Renegades Reviews, and we keep with the Muppet theme. We're going to be discussing Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas, starring Jim Henson, Frank Oz, Jerry Nelson, Richard Hunt, Dave Goles, Marilyn Sokol, and Aaron Oakser. You don't want to miss out on any of that coverage right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel. So make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on so you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or anytime we go live, as is the case with Stat Boy Sports Bar, Open Mic Night, pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share these videos with your family, friends, loved ones, coworkers, movie fanatics, cinephiles in your life, fans of the Muppets, fans of the Muppet Show, fans of Sesame Street, fans of Fraggle Rock, fans of Jim Henson or Frank Oz. Anybody you can think of that would enjoy this content in my video, share it with them. It's the only way we're going to boost up my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized and make some money on this endeavor. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.